Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. You know, we're in that time of year where I went to bed last night with the air conditioner still on, and I woke up this morning and turned on the heater. And this week is supposed to get up in the 70s and close to 80, and I'll have the air conditioner back on. It's just that time of year, and we might as well just be prepared for it for probably a few more weeks. I hope y'all had a good weekend. We had a fantastic time yesterday at church. We honored our veterans, and we are so appreciative of the sacrifice and the service for each and every one of them. And then we came back last night and had dinner and Bible study, and it was just a fantastic day. Our devotional this morning starts with the scripture from the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. The title of today's devotional is What God Does, and it reads, Look at Joseph in the Egyptian prison. His brothers have sold him out. Potiphar's wife has turned him in. If a world has ever caved in, Joseph's has. Or consider Moses watching flocks in the wilderness. Is this what he intended to do with his life? Hardly. His heart beats with Jewish blood. His passion is to lead the slaves. So why does God have him leading sheep? And Daniel, what about Daniel? He was among the brightest and best young men of Israel, the equivalent of a West Point cadet or an Ivy Leaguer. But he and his entire generation are being marched out of Jerusalem. The city is destroyed. The temple is in ruins. Joseph in prison, Moses in the desert, Daniel in chains. These were dark moments. Who could have seen any good in them? Who could have known that Joseph the prisoner was just one promotion away from becoming Joseph the prime minister? Who would have thought that God was giving Moses 40 years of wilderness training in the very desert through which he would lead the people? And who could have imagined that Daniel the captive would soon be Daniel the king's counselor? God does things like that. He did with Joseph, with Moses, with Daniel, and most of all, he did it with Jesus. And he will do it with you. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I found this one to be very uplifting, a wonderful way to start a new week, a wonderful Monday, kickoff of what God does and how he blesses us. And I started thinking, and as I was praying, there were a couple of scriptures that came to me, and the Bible tells us that there is a season for everything. For everything there is a season. Well, in every one of these three instances that the devotional mentioned this morning, this was a season of preparation. It was a season of preparation for Joseph. It was a season of preparation for Moses. And it was the same for Daniel. So if you find yourself right now feeling like your world is falling apart, like there is just way too much on your plate, like, you're being downtrodden, you're being persecuted, you're being misunderstood, you're in that mindset of, nobody likes me, everybody hates me, and things just aren't going right, and finances are tough, or your marriage is struggling, or whatever it may be, you just may be in a season of preparation. And so I would tell you that what you need to do at this point in life is you need to buckle up, Buttercup. Because if you're going through these tough times, it just may be that God is preparing a blessing for you that is bigger than anything you ever could have imagined. All three of these greats that we read about in the Bible, they went through tough times. Tougher times than any of us have. None of us have been placed out in the wilderness for 40 years to prepare us for a 40-year trek in the wilderness to free God's people. None of us have been sold into slavery by our brothers and been, placed in chains. None of us have been sent like Daniel and being marched out of Jerusalem. none of us have been, marched out of our homes, our homeland. They all went through things that are greater, bigger than anything any of us are going through, let's face it. But God used all of those situations as a season of preparation. You may be experiencing a season of preparation. You need to be making yourself ready for whatever blessing it is that God is bringing your way. And it may be something so vast, so huge, that you never could have imagined it taking place in your life. I thought of a couple of different scriptures. One is 1 Corinthians 2:9. And it says, what no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things that God has prepared for those who love him. Now that's pretty huge. What no eye has seen, what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has even conceived. Those are the blessings that God has in store for those who love him. Now the other one that I thought of was Romans 8:28, and that's one that everybody knows, well as also. It says, we know that in all things that God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. So that means that all of these trials, all these hardships, all these times of wandering in the wilderness, where Satan is trying his very best to destroy us, God is going to turn around and use them as a season for preparation for the blessings that he has in store. And it does not matter how old you are. How old was Moses when he started leading the people through the wilderness? How old was Moses when he went for 40 more years leading the people? It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter how popular you are. It doesn't matter how rich you are. None of those things bear any weight with God. Because remember, God does not call the equipped. God equips the called. And part of that equipping just may be that time, that season of preparation. So if you're going through something major right now, if you feel like the whole world is just kind of caving in on you, if you don't know how you're going to make it to the end of the month with the money that you don't have, or your family situation seems to just be closing in all around you, and it seems like no matter what you do or how hard you work, it's just never enough. Just remember, God takes all those things that are meant to destroy us, and he uses them for our good and his glory. God will be glorified in each and every one of those situations. So today, what I would suggest we all do, if we're feeling those rough times, if we're feeling like everything is just falling apart around us, go to God in prayer today and say, Lord, I don't know what it is you're preparing me for, but whatever you need to do to get me ready for it, Lord, I am willing to walk just like Moses did to receive that blessing. I want to be all that you want me to be. I want to accomplish all that you want me to accomplish for you. So Lord, continue to take me through the fire if that's what it takes, because I am here to serve you and serve you alone. And then just wait and see the blessings that God pours out. Another scripture I thought about was the one that says that we will be given blessings, we will be given all things pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Will men give in to our bosom? Meaning God will prompt others to bless us as well. Pretty good Monday. It's cold outside. I'm going to stay in and I'm going to read and I'm going to study and I'm going to work on Sunday's message, and I'm just going to wait and see what God has in store next. I pray you all have a beautiful day today. If there's anything I can do for you, please reach out and let me know. I love you all dearly. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Bye-bye.